Hi everyone, this will just be a shorter video to wrap up the whirlwind tour that we've gone through, learning a variety of things. So if we think about what we learned back at the start, we were just creating a Flask server that returned hello world, and it also returned the weather from OpenWeather map. And then we also had the forecast and current weather. And then we wrote a little bit of Python just to change how the results looked. Then what we did is we started rendering templates. So we introduced how to use HTML and also how to inject certain values into the HTML. So we would have dynamic messages instead of messaging like this that cannot change. And we also added conditionals. So that way, if you want to render something when someone's logged in or hide it when they're logged out, you can do conditional rendering. And then we also learned how to include templates so that no matter what page you're on, for example, here the navbar, it will always display. And then we learned, if you wish to customize it further, how to add in custom styling or custom JavaScript. Then we also looked at how to get custom JavaScript and styling that someone else has written, for example, Bootstrap. And there's a variety of ways that you can customize your application using Bootstrap, and it's very easy and quick to get set up. And then we also have our broken down templates here, here, and here. And so you might wonder, what's the point in all these different files? Well, if we combine them together, this file here could be 150 to 200 lines. So that way, if there's a bug or an issue with the application and it's like, hey, this navbar link doesn't go to the homepage when it should, as a developer, you know straight away the issue's in here somewhere, and you don't necessarily need to dive through or worry about all the rest of the code. So it's a really good way to put your HTML in small compartments. Another thing we learned here is how to loop through data. So if we have a list of days or a list of something else, and how we can access things inside each object, and also how to dynamically render icons. So I think that's really cool. And then moving on from there, we got a little bit smarter with Flask, added in like an error handler, for example. We added in dynamic ports so it can run on services like Heroku, Amazon Web Services, etc. And from there, we decided, okay, this runs on my machine. We should put it in a Docker file so that way we can just ship a container to anywhere, to anything, and we'll get exactly the same outcome. So that's where this file comes in. And there's a lot of Docker file examples on the internet. And if you just typed in like Docker for a Flask server or Docker for Node.js, you will easily find examples, and then you just customize it to suit your own needs. For example, I had to add this line in because I knew our application defaulted to port 5000. And then from there, we had this running in Docker, localhost 5000, no worries. But how do we get that into the cloud so other people can access the website? For example, through Migrate Weather 2 at herokuapp.com. And so to do that, we could do it manually, to be honest. You can actually create new apps through here. You could go into the settings page. You could do all of this manually. You can change the stack manually. You can actually deploy through here by connecting to GitHub. And it's got all the commands here to do that manually. But what we decided is the best way to actually deploy this is in a very simple hands-off approach. So when we push the code, the changes are live. So to do that, we made a folder called GitHub with a full stop. Inside that, workflows folder, and then we have a main.yaml. And in here, we define some rules and some tasks that we expect it to do. And we also injected variables that are sensitive because you don't want to publish your Heroku API key on the internet. So that's why I'm going to reset mine. And you also don't want to publish perhaps your email if you want to keep that private. And there might be other things in here, like you might have a database, username and password that you don't want to store on GitHub because someone will steal that. So yeah, from there we have an application ready to go. We could share this link with anyone. You'll notice that it's free, and on Heroku's free tier, sometimes the app does take a little while to start because it goes into sleep mode. But if you wanted to for your portfolio, if you're applying for jobs and all that sort of stuff, you can actually upgrade it to a paid app. So you can see here everything's $0 a month, free dynos. So you can actually configure it. You can change type, and then you can choose something here. In all honesty, I think this is a little bit expensive, but I personally have used it before, especially for a portfolio and especially when I'm looking for jobs. And then afterwards, I'll scale back to the free tier just to save on costs. All right, so if you got stuck along the way, or if you need a pause, slow down the video, check out the commands. I'll have a link to the GitHub repo in the description, and I'll also be available in the comments if you get stuck along the way. And the next steps for you from here is to go, okay, I learned a little bit of Bootstrap, a little bit of GitHub Actions, a little bit of Heroku. Maybe there's another tutorial you could follow that builds, say, a full stack replication of Facebook or Instagram or something, and then use the skills that you've gained from my tutorials to go, oh, okay, this is running on localhost. Maybe I should put it in the cloud. I'm putting it in the cloud manually. Maybe I should use GitHub Actions or some way to automate it. So I'm hoping to just, probe your interest and give you a quick overview of what's actually possible out there. Anyway, thanks again, everyone. I'll catch you in another project in the future. Take it easy.